All right, so welcome back to our second segment of the 6 ways to make cauliflower.
The power of cauliflower.
Power of cauliflower. Last week we talked about 3 recipes. I'm Kay Spears. I'm a nutritionist, and this is my
nutritionist.
this is my husband, Chef Andrew, who has been a chef in Vegas and New York and all over the world. And together we are going to teach you how to make traditional recipes and make them not only taste good, but tell you about the nutrition benefits from each and everything we cook.
That's right, where nutritious meets delicious.
Yes.
I'm delicious. She's delicious. All right, so on to segment 2 about the power of cauliflower. Today we're going to go with a steakhouse dinner. Now I know that sounds really not in the cauliflower realm, but you know what? That's why we're here.
Yes.
So the first thing we're going to start with is a cauliflower gratin. So imagine a potato gratin, something nice, hot, cheesy, bubbly, roasted, crusty that you get at a traditional steakhouse. We're going to do the same thing right now. So I'm going to focus in real quick. I'm just going to show you a couple of ingredients. So this is a roasted cauliflower. Sliced thin. Toss in some olive oil, a little bit of salt and pepper. In your oven at 400 degrees. Honestly, folks, just watch it. Flip it, watch it, flip it. When you achieve this type of espresso brown color, that's what you're looking for. Well, chef, how long does that take? Honestly, about 30 to 40 minutes. But just watch it. When it looks good, it smells nice and roasty and nutty, it's ready. So that part's done. Take that out. Actually, this is good. This is an amazing snack, just like it is right here.
I'm gonna eat it right now.
Yeah, olive oil, salt and pepper, and roasted cauliflower, amazing snack. But we're gonna go 10 steps further. So take this right here.
He's gonna make it taste even better.
That's right. So some heavy cream.
Ooh, I'm liking that already.
Remember last week you had the Parmigiano Reggiano? Same thing. Pinch of salt and pepper. And something that makes a lot of root vegetables and cruciferous vegetables delicious, from carrots to parsnips to rutabagas to celery root to cauliflower, is nutmeg. Nutmeg, you think of pumpkin pie spice, you think of apple pie, but folks, nutmeg is just about as savory as it gets. So we're going to give it a little bit of nutmeg.
So if you didn't tune in last week, cauliflower is a cruciferous vegetable, meaning that there's a whole class of them, broccoli, turnips, root vegetables, and they have a sulfur in them that fight cancer. Really good for fighting cancer, really good for us. And one thing I also want to mention is brain health. Cauliflower has something in it called choline, which helps our memory. How many of us feel like we can have better memory? I'll raise my hand. So choline is in cauliflower, something that you don't know about.
Alright, so what we did, we tossed the roast cauliflower with the cheese, with the nutmeg, with the cream, with the salt and pepper, and put it in a little cast iron skillet. Now, I know everybody doesn't have these at home. A perfectly small glass baking dish will do. Alright, so now we're going to cover this with a ham.
And one other thing about cauliflower I want to mention is digestive health. So there's a bacteria that can overpopulate in our stomach called H. pylori that can actually cause stomach cancer. And cauliflower, believe it or not, has a very powerful, that same sulfur component in it that does not allow that bacteria to adhere to the stomach lining. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
That's so hot when she talks science. So what I covered this with is some local raw milk white cheddar. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the oven under the broiler on high, and just watch it like you would a good mac and cheese or a potato gratin. When it gets like crusty and melty, and then it's time to come out. But I'll tell you what, you want to tell them real quick about the difference between regular cheddar and raw milk cheddar?
Well, absolutely. Regular cheddar is processed. What we use is a raw milk cheddar, meaning that it has not gone through the pasteurization. It still has all the good benefits in it. When you have a raw cheese, we have more organisms in our colon than there are stars in the galaxy. And so raw milk cheeses help us rebuild these organisms and help keep our digestion system strong and our immune systems where they should be.
All right, so anywhere you can find at your local farmer's market, local raw milk, any kind of cheese. It doesn't have to be cheddar, blue cheese, Swiss, Colby. If it's raw milk, then get on it.
Actually, and the longer a cheese is aged, like the pungent cheeses, like blue cheese and stuff, they're actually fermented more, which means they're better for our guts and give us happy guts.
Cheesehead.
I am a cheesehead, you know that.
Yep.
Give me anything with cheese and I love it.
All right, so on to the next of the steakhouse dinner.
All right, so what are you going to show us next? You're going to show my favorite cauliflower mashers.
Yep.
And is that going to be a cauliflower ribeye?
That it is. So we're on to the main event. So let's say you're vegan, and let's say you're on K-Spears Phase 1 weight loss plan, and let's say that you're trying to really impress some friends with a really amazing steak and potato night, steak and mashed potato night. So let's go start with a steak. So we call this a cauliflower ribeye. This is local organic cauliflower, center cut about probably 1.5 inches. Okay, so this is going to mimic our meat. I'm going to show you in just a second how we're going to cook it, because we're almost going to cook it kind of like a steak, but a little bit lower and slower. That way it gets nice and just really roasted.
And we have a friend who's actually a vegetarian, and we love meat, so we have our grass-fed beef. But when she comes over, we make this, and you can't even tell the difference. I've actually served this to a bunch of friends who thought that it tasted like a steak.
That's right. Now, the older, I guess, substitute is a portobello mushroom cat, but you know what? This is 2017. Let's do something different.
Actually, you know, when you cook the portobello mushroom, it destroys a lot of the benefits and makes it a more toxic steak than actually the cauliflower. So this is a much better choice. I did not know that. Yes, yes.
All right.
You want a portobello mushroom to be raw. You don't want to cook it.
All right. Well, and we'll get back in the kitchen in a second to check that out. But the other thing we're going to make is cauliflower mashers. Now, the cauliflower mashers is boiled cauliflower, some heavily sautéed onions. I would say caramelized, but they're not. And if you say caramelized to a chef and they're not caramelized, shame on you, because caramelized is a far extensive process than just heavily sautéed. We got some heavy cream, we got some garlic, and we get, again, some nutmeg. So come on in the kitchen, let's get this cooking. All right, so here we are live, cooking our cauliflower ribeye, just like a regular steak. So what we have is a hot cast iron. Got about a tablespoon of olive oil and about 2 tablespoons of butter. That butter is going to be the flavor in this steak, along with a little bit of salt and pepper. Now, all we're trying to do here is we're trying to color on both sides. We're not really trying to cook it here. That's going to happen in the oven. But as we color on both sides, we're going to take this butter oil in the pan, and we're going to baste and baste, and we're going to bathe, and the French call this coller. Alright, so now we have our little base. We have colored on both sides. So now we're going to go into a 350-degree oven. And the reason why it's 350 and not 550 is we're trying to slow roast this. We want it to cook all the way through. We want to get nice and tender and roasted and colored, but we don't want black bitter on the outside and white raw crunchy on the inside. So we're going to let that go. 350 degrees, probably about 25-30 minutes. Again, this is all about love. So when the steak, the cauliflower is just how you like it, that's when you take it out and you eat it. So I would say about every 5 minutes, take it out, flip it over, baste, 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 put it back in. 5 minutes, take it out, baste, 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 flip it, flip it, baste, 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 and put it back in until it's the way that you like it. All right, right on to our next dish. Okay, so while the cauliflower ribeye and the cauliflower rattan are getting their love on in the oven, we're going to show you a great substitute to mashed potatoes. It's mashed cauliflower. So moving forward with our cauliflower, this right here is we have about half a head of boiled cauliflower. Boil it for about 15-20 minutes until it's really, really soft. Now the key to the mashed cauliflower is you've got to strain the cauliflower. If not, it's going to add all that. This soaks up all the water, and if you get that water in your mash, you're going to have more of a soup instead of a mash. So you got to let it drain for at least about an hour. So go ahead and put that in your food processor, honey.
Yes, and so while I'm doing this, I want to talk about methylation, which is a very important topic these days. If we're not properly methylating, we're going to have heart disease and all kinds of stroke and cardiovascular issues, and cauliflower actually has something in it to help us with the methylation process, so it's really good for the heart.
Absolutely. All
yes,
right.
So now what?
So the second thing is we have some onions that are heavily sauteed in butter. And this is probably
grass-fed butter.
Yes, this is a half of a medium onion sauteed in half a stick of grass-fed Kerrygold butter, plugged, and 1 clove of garlic. Now the reason why we saute this heavily is because you're trying to almost caramelize the onion. You're trying to get that sugar sweetness out of the onion to add to this puree, because potatoes are one big glucose molecule, right? And so we're trying to emulate the sugar that you get out of a potato versus adding a little bit of sugar sweetness to this. So this is about half a medium onion sauteed in a half stick of butter to a clove of garlic.
Which is antiviral, antibacterial, so it's very good for us. And by the way, my dad is a meat and potatoes guy, and we tricked him with this recipe one night. We made some cauliflower mashers, and he thought they were real potatoes.
So what Kate's putting in now is just a 1/4 cup of heavy cream. Here we go back to the healthy fats.
Yes.
Out of that, but it gives it a richness and a body to the cauliflower mash, so it's not so dry. It's got like this thickness to it. It's just a creaminess to it.
Yes.
Also, we said one more time.
Don't forget that.
Don't forget, this is the magic ingredient, nutmeg. It's one of those things that when you taste it in something like parsnips and celery root and cauliflower, you like, man, that's great, but I don't know what that is. It's probably nutmeg.
It's the hidden secret.
That's right.
You want to start this now?
1 second. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and puree this until it's a just fine, smooth cauliflower puree. And then the key to this next is you have to let it set up a little bit one time, because you have to let that butter re-solidify to get that mash. And then when you reheat it, it's not going to be as loose as it will be right now.
Okay. All right. Ready to go?
Turn it on.
Okay.
For TV's sake, we're going to color that good, but I would let it go. See if you got like a piece of onions in here.
It needs to all be mixed for sure.
Yes, it needs to be an absolutely fine puree.
Yes, but I would eat it right now.
I would too, actually. You know, I said something about letting it cool, but my wife's got away with this recipe, and
pretty darn good. All right, come on.
The cauliflower is just the body, just like the potato. The onions are going to give you that sweetness, and you got the garlic and the cream to give you that creaminess.
Yes.
But the health benefits involved and what you're saving from the glucose in the potato is just, I know it's not a mashed potato, but if your health is your wealth, then this is what we do.
And it tastes great, and again, it's not going to convert to sugar rapidly in the body. So if you're pre-diabetic or diabetic, then this is going to be the recipe for you. So you don't have to give up the good taste. And everybody likes their potatoes, but I'm telling you, I'm a potato girl. But since Chef Andrew has introduced cauliflower into my world, they're hands down, this is the best.
And this is why we're here. So I'll tell you what, 2 more treats. Let's take a look at that rattan on that steak.
Oh yeah, yes. And by the way, if anybody has any questions about our recipes, I know we don't have a lot of time to cover everything, you can go to our Nutritious Meats Delicious at gmail.com and post any questions you may have, or if you would like these recipes, we will be more than happy to get these out to you.
All right.
Oh, and I just want to tell them about our book. We do have a culinary guide coming out in January. It's going to be a complete culinary guide with recipes, and we're also going to have nutrition tips in it, and also food history tidbits. Yes.
Right, along with health tidbits.
Yes.
All right, so here's our side dish. This is our cauliflower rattan, which is nice and like ooey gooey on top. And like I said, trying to compare it to a potato rattan, it's got the same texture, it's got the same cheese, it's got the same cream. You're missing all the not as great stuff from potato, but getting all the great stuff from the cauliflower. And then the piece de resistance.
I'll make sure that I taste that for you. Just saying.
Is our cauliflower ribeye.
Ooh,
folks.
That's beautiful.
You want to cut that with a fork?
Oh yeah. Do we need a knife or?
No.
Actually, that is so nice.
Super tender, super roasted.
That's gonna be hot.
Buttery. Yeah, that's gonna be hot.
If that's like a buttery steak that any vegan would love, this is perfect. So you get all the nutrient benefits without getting the actual meat.
And you get the feel of that knife and fork, roasted, crusted. So you can play along with your friends if you're vegan or you're vegetarian or you're on, like I said, on Kay Spear's Phase 1 weight loss plan, then this is for you. So like Kay said, we don't have a lot of time to completely go through the recipes on our show, but if you'll email us, we'll be more than happy to send you a complete beginning to end video or explanation of anything we've done here today or any of our shows.
Yes, yes.
All right.
All right, so then tune in for our next show where we're going to be talking about
We're going to talk about how to spice up your dish.
Yes.
We talk about chicken is the khaki pants of the culinary world. We're going to teach you how to spice up your khaki pants. So anyway, make sure and subscribe to us on YouTube.
Yes.
And catch us next time as
we
save
the world one bite at a time.